On this week's show, we'll be discussing LEGO Horizon Adventures reviews are out, Warcraft is back, and so is Warcraft 2. And is this podcast now an Xbox? Find out on this week's GamerGuild Xbox podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to the GamerGuild Podcast, your weekly show where we round up all the week's video game stories and news for you, for your viewing or listening pleasure, right here on youtube.com/@GamerGuildTV and up there on the digital clouds on your podcast preference of choice. Your podcast players for this week are Mr. Chris.
Execute episode 66, Richie.
Indeed. And I survived an encounter with Darth Vader.
Oh, well done. Very few can live to tell that tale.
Because last week I went to get a photo with him, but that's what, and he decided, like, I was walking over to try and get a photo with a guy cosplaying as Darth Vader, and he decided that's the time to take a break and just exit through some doors that was staff on. I was like, bugger.
Did he open the doors, or did he just wave his hand and they opened?
He opened the doors. He broke character.
Breaks the illusion a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, sometimes they do. It's like, I feel sorry for some of like the little kids around, because there was two guys dressed as like Stitch and whatever Stitch's girlfriend's called.
Angel,
I didn't know. And they just took the heads off in the middle of the bloody show floor.
Ah, you don't do that. There's kids being mortified out there.
Yeah, well, they were outside, just like working the outside area, and they must have been roasting. Because it was clear that they were trying to just leave and go get a break, and people kept coming up to them.
It does happen. They are very popular.
Yeah. So if you're wondering where I was last week, I was at Liverpool Comic Con. It was awesome.
Rob graciously stepped in and filled the void which you left on the show. So thank you, Rob.
I think two highlights for me. One, I met Dogpool.
The Dogpool?
The Dogpool.
His real name is...
Peggy.
I didn't know that.
Massive tongue. Like, I saw her through the curtains at first, and you could see the tongue was bigger than her.
Ew.
I also got a kiss of Bumblebee. And I'm not even a Transformers fan.
Transformers, right. I was going to say Transformers. I was thinking, is it the Mexican Bumblebee from Simpsons?
Got again, just some guy cosplaying as Bumblebee, and got a photo. She walked off. As I went to walk off, he put his arm around me and just leaned in.
It might have been a headbutt. You can never tell.
No, it was definitely affectionate.
Affectionate.
He took one look at me and went, some of that.
I gave up on the Transformers movies.
I gave up after Transformers 1. It was...
I
enjoyed it, but... it wasn't...
I never watched the cartoon as a child, so I never had that nostalgia to draw me in as well. But overall, you had a good time? Solid showing?
Indeed, I had a great time. But that's not what you're here for. You guys are here to hear about the video game news. But before we get into it, make sure if you haven't already, you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you keep in the loop of all our fantastic content here at GamerGuildTV. We also have a Discord and a store. The details of that are in the description of the video or the podcast if you're listening on audio services. Chris, we've just finished Gears of War 2 for our weekly live stream. Your thoughts?
Finally, yes. Gears of War 2, part of our retrospective cooperative playback, and really enjoyed it for the first time. So that's Halo 1 and 2 down, Gears 1 and 2 down, as our Xbox journey continues, because this episode is all about everyone being an Xbox. You are an Xbox, I'm an Xbox, our audience out there, you're all an Xbox. And really enjoyed Gears. It was more of the same. I think 2 is usually revered as one of the best ones, and I didn't really see much variation from 1 to 2. Like, I didn't see as big of an evolution as I was maybe expecting. So I don't know if that's just like a modern gaming sensibilities thing. We don't have that nostalgia. We're not in the moment as much. So, and we broke it up over like several weeks.
Yeah,
it's obviously, it all has an impact. But
I think I preferred 1, actually. But I think
I did in a way.
What 2 did, it started introducing more vehicle segments, which was very much of the time, where 1 had less of them, but also had like the kind of dark mechanic where you couldn't go into the dark areas, which I found was a bit more interesting because you had to be a bit more careful. So I think I preferred 1 to 2, but 2 was still a really good time.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the biggest highlight for me was the cast of characters. I think the four main dudes, main bro dude army guys, fantastic. I think knowing like E-Day is focused on Dom and Marcus as well. Don't know what happens to A-Train or Bard. We'll probably get to that in our later adventures. But seeing that, yeah, it was. I'm excited to play 3 when we get around to it. And Gears has always been one of them franchises I knew I would have loved if I had an Xbox and just didn't. So it's great that we're able to get around to it now. But yeah, onwards to the next one and what else we're playing, because there's been a lot. Yeah,
you specifically have been playing a lot. What else have you been playing? And I want to save Lego Horizons because that's in the news.
Yeah, Lego Horizon Adventures is in our main news story, so I'll get to that. Indiana Jones. So in the lead up to the Great Circle, there was a 15-minute deep dive dropped this past week, which kind of went in a little bit more around what the gameplay mechanics look like, the puzzle-solving mechanics, showed off a little bit more of the kind of level design and such. But then leading up to that, being a big Indiana Jones fan as I am, I've gone back to play some of the retro games, and I've also gone back to watch all the movies again. So I've currently got one movie left in the run-through I'm watching with my wife. So we've got Dial of Destiny, which is the last one. We watched Kingdom of the Crystal Skull a couple of days ago, and I'm enjoying the movies, and I've enjoyed the games as well. So I've played... The first one is available now publicly. That was The Emperor's Tomb, and I went to town a little bit on Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings, which is the one that's available for members now. I know a couple of people of our members who've been watching it early agree with me in the comments. There's a lot of frustration. I was saying to Rob last week, I won't go fully into it, but this game came out 2 years after Uncharted 1.
Ah, okay.
And it's so much worse than Uncharted 1. It's painfully bad for, arguably a modern game by all intents and purposes. It is still a PS2 version. The PS3 and Xbox 360 were cancelled before they made it to launch, so it is kind of held back a little bit by that last gen jump.
Uncharted 1 was PS3, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they've made the game 2 years after Uncharted came on the PS3 for the previous platform.
Yeah. There was next gen at the time in the works, but for whatever reason they never made it to market. So again,
probably because it launched on the PS2 and it was shit. It didn't sell.
Maybe, yeah. Who knows? It was stuck between trying to promote Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and be its own thing, and studio executive Spielberg. It's a whole thing.
And Uncharted existing, because Uncharted 2 was probably not long coming up. If it wasn't already out by then.
Actually, that's a great question, because I feel like Naughty Dog turned around 1 to 2 in less than 2 years. I think it might have been 2008 to 2010. It might have been later this very year. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So. Yeah, all that aside, it's available now for our members. They get it a couple of days up to a week early, and our guild heroes, that is. And, of course, it'll go free eventually. I'm planning on doing one a week drop leading up to the Great Circle, which comes out on the 9th of December. So I'll have a first look up on the channel to kind of put a nice bow or a whip on all of those things. But, yeah, that's next. Then there's Lego Indiana Jones afterwards, and Lego Indiana Jones 2. The adventure continues afterwards as well. They're all in the bag. They're all done. Members are going to get them early. So yeah, Gears, Indiana, and Lego.
Why do I feel like the Lego ones are going to be the strongest ones in the franchise?
Well, you'd be surprised. It's interesting going into Lego Horizons actually straight off the back of an older Lego game.
Yeah.
Even though they're not both made by TT Games, there's some interesting similarities and such, which I'll probably get into when we talk about the Horizon news in the news. But yeah, I've been very busy, and just like you, Richie, been playing some Pokemon trading card game Pocket.
Yes.
Which I'll throw over to you to maybe talk about a bit more.
Yeah, so first things first, I was wrong about this game. I am 100% in on this game. Like, I'm proper addicted. And, I'll still not buy a season pass, because I just don't want to. I'm not going to buy any premium currency. But I did activate the 2-week trial of the season pass and immediately cancel it.
So did I.
Yeah.
And thankfully, with the way Google's Play Store works, is it cancels, but it still gives you the 2-week trial time.
But I was actually after, I think you tweeted about it.
I did, yeah.
Either you tweeting about it or you tweeted about the podcast. I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a fair... I love Pokemon. I'm not going to be cynical. I've already been cynical. I'm going to give it a fair look. I expected to play for 10-15 minutes and going, nah, not for me. Half an hour later, I told my girlfriend to download it, and she's now addicted as well.
Oh, this is how it works. Yeah, me and Rob made like an unofficial agreement at the end of last week to not download. I think it passed 30 million downloads or something, or active users, something like that. So no doubt it's probably at 40 million by this week. But Yeah, said I wasn't going to do it in case it was like heavily monetized. I am happy to like report, like you'll know, it's not heavily monetized. No. There is a season pass, but I was expecting like dice rolls and drop 99 cents for this and 99 pence for that, and there is literally, as far as I've dug into it, a season pass. But if you're patient with these things, I feel like there's a steady stream of cards if you want to collect them. I feel like my initial 150 starter deck is quite padded out already. I've got a Charizard, I have a Blastoise, I have a Venusaur. So I don't think the digital rarity is as scarce as the real life counterpart, which is made me keep playing. So I'm enjoying it.
Without spending any money. And I do have the season pass for 2 weeks free of charge, but anyone can get that. I currently have 154 or 226 cards collected. And a total of 391 cards in my deck.
And I feel like the next deck's probably going to be announced at some point to kind of keep people coming back in.
Trading isn't even released for the game yet, so this is all on the back of opening boosted decks, and also the Wonder Picks, where you get a choice of 5 random cards and it expends 1 type of currency.
Yeah. Wonder Picks. Yeah, I'm a bit still confused with all the currency stuff. I've done a couple of the battles, which the battles are surprisingly fun.
Yeah, the battles
I think
are
that's
fun.
The problem.
And there's achievements in there's different like theme battles, so you can play offline. They are fun. It's quite fun to get some of the challenges. Also, although I'm stuck on one of them, I just can't seem to get it. I'm on the advanced. I got one challenge on the advanced tier left to do, and I don't want to move on to expert until I've done it.
Yeah, well, you've done a lot. You've done a lot more than me.
Yeah, I've played a lot.
I think I'm level 7 or something now. But we've got a Discord server feed spare for it. If anyone is curious, wants to drop your friend tags in there and you can sign up. I did rename it Pokemon because I figured Pokemon Go players are still out there. So it's just general Pokemon online stuff. Jump in there and get. And the problem with Discord is it's so frustrating. You can't just capitalize and you can't leave a space. It has to have that really awkward function where it's got dashes and... It's annoying, but it's there if you want to look for it in our Discord. Happy to have the wonderful folks out there jump in and join.
People have been sharing the friend codes, which originally it was just in the mobile version, so I've put all the ones that were in the mobile version in the description of the channel. So if you're looking for people's friend codes, they're there.
Very helpful. Very helpful. And what else have you been playing aside from Pokemon?
I got the Platinum in Jedi Survivor.
Hey, well done.
Finally.
Well done.
Took me
Platinum
months.
number...
Oh, God knows. 10?
42.
No, it's not that much.
You've not got that many yet?
No. Nowhere near 40s.
You went on a really good run of Platinums, I feel like, about 3-4 years ago.
I get a few a year. That's all I get. Because I don't Platinum every single game I play. So it really depends. I've got... 35.
Oh, I wasn't far off.
Yeah, you weren't far off. You were closer to my actual platinum score than I was.
Yeah, it's because I pay attention.
I apparently
get
I don't.
Count up every night and scroll and go, oh, he's on this.
Well, yeah, Jedi Survivor took me longer than intended because I stopped to play an entire other game in the middle.
It happens, though. It does happen.
Yeah. And then I bought Metaphor Refantasio. Played for about 2 hours and I've been addicted to Pokemon ever since. So I don't really want to talk too much about it yet because I can't, to be honest. I've kind of played like the introductory section and that's all.
Only another 98 hours to go then.
Yeah, it's but I've got to the point where Pokemon's now slowed down after the initial trying to get your hooks in you, where you can first few days you can play for hours on end, then slows down to playing half an hour here, 20 minutes there, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'll probably talk about Metaphor a bit more next week, I reckon.
Looking forward to it. It's going to be in a lot of the Game of the Year conversation. So we should point out and mention as well, this show we're recording on Friday. It goes live, of course, every Monday, 8 a.m. here on YouTube and podcast platforms. Game Awards are announcing their nominations lineup on Monday, typically. Yeah. So if you're looking for Game Awards news, we'll probably touch on it next week, even though it'll be a week out of date, but the Game Awards won't have happened still, so it'll be relevant. But we'll just in case people were wondering why it wasn't in the show.
It sucks for weekend creators.
It does. But
Game Awards, we can do without it.
Yeah, we may obviously cover the show live. We're going to have discussions with Man and Richie's work schedules because it does very early in the morning over here in the UK. So we'll get to that one close at the time. But
we will.
Interesting.
But
and you you did, just before you get on, you did mention the merch store.
I mentioned it.
Black Friday is coming up. 30% sale. 29th of November. So hold on to them pennies for just a little bit longer, folks, and you'll get your 30% off.
You will indeed. But you know what it is time for, Chris? You to introduce us to the
graciously gathered Gamer Guild Gazette, a.k.a. the news.
The news. And as always, our news is brought to you by our guild heroes, which you can join for as little as 99 pence over on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for your support. It really does mean a lot for us after 5 years of content creation, and we intend to keep going for a long time, to the point where I'm literally spending my weekend painting my new office. So we're getting closer to me moving my set.
When do we call it the studio?
I think I'm going to call it Studio 2.
Yeah. You know what you should do? Because I've seen, people in our Discord have seen the images of it.
Yeah.
You should get one of those little live on-air lights outside the door. So if your girlfriend's like, oh, is he actually recording? Is he doing it? Can you just have a little blinky red light that says on air?
I'm not sure I'd get away with that one, considering the door to it is right in the middle of the bloody kitchen. But
yeah, it's an idea.
Yeah, it's an idea. I'll ask her. I'll bring it up, but I don't think I'm getting away with that.
Oh, well, worth a shot. We should say as well, Guild Heroes, amazing as you are, thank you for everyone who's supporting the channel, but we are 25 subs away from 2k, Richie. We set ourselves the goal of hitting 2k by the end of the year. We've currently got a month and a half left, and our trajectory would say we're probably just going to scrape it. So I'd say anyone out there, if you've got another account that you might use, a work account, a friend, or anyone who's remotely into gaming, do share, do comment, help us out with the algorithm. 25 away from 2k, you know, and it wouldn't happen without you.
There's 25 people listening to this show right now who have a friend who does not listen.
But they are a gamer.
There you go. Ask them. Do us a favour. Lego Horizon, Chris. You've played it? You've played it on the channel?
I have. This is story number 1.
It is. Tell us about Lego Horizon.
Well, the reviews are in for Lego Horizon. It's not getting stellar reviews. It's getting kind of what I would expect from a Lego game, which is around about the 7. Like, not going to blow anyone away. It's not going to have crazy in-depth storytelling. It is repetitive because it, by nature of it being like a Lego game. However, there is obviously something a little bit different about this one. So Lego Horizon Adventures, we know, it's the first PlayStation IP to make the jump over to the world of Lego. However, this one isn't done by Traveller's Tales, or TT Games as they're known now, which every other Lego game before it has been done by. So it's a different studio. It's a new partnership. It's more strangely enough, it's out on Nintendo Switch, PC, and PlayStation. So the PlayStation mascot Aloy is actually available right now on Nintendo Switch.
There you go.
Crazy world we live in, right? Everyone complains about Xbox going the other way, but PlayStation's doing the same thing. MLB The Show's also out there, and a couple of other things coming, no doubt. Death Stranding just dropped on Xbox last week. But I digress. I'm thoroughly enjoying the game. I believe I'm about halfway through already. It is a short game. It's about 10 hours to complete the story. I've had about 15 hours to get the platinum. And the game is very broken up into segments. So you have, for those who haven't played Horizon, your protagonist Aloy. She's a young baby girl left abandoned, it seems. In the future, where there's robot dinosaurs, the world's gone to shit, and machines are essentially slowly taking over and terraforming our planet, and at the risk of killing all life as well at the same time. Really, like, we love the Horizon games. The first two, I think, Richie, were both on some of PlayStation's best exclusives, both visually as well. Absolutely stunning. Just had a remaster for the first one, still available. But in terms of this one, you would ask, how do you take a Lego game and merge it with this IP? And quite frankly, I think they've done a brilliant job. It's visually stunning in that Lego aesthetic. The gameplay, it's very much anchored towards a family-friendly, a child retelling of Aloy's story. So it is very much the first game retold in a Lego movie-style comedy. So they joke about liking pickle sandwiches, and there's a hot dog superhero man who lives in this world, and the robot dinosaurs are referred to as robot dinosaurs. And yeah, just the tone, the beats, the character back and forth. You have a cast of 4 characters you can play as, so not just Aloy. You can play as it's Val, if you recall, Richie Val, the old lady who's the priest of the camp, Tisa, the one who finds Aloy as a baby. She's there, and you can play as want to say it's not Ingram,
It's Aaron.
Ingrid. Aaron, that's the guy with the big hammer. He's hilarious in this, by the way. His voice lines style. He's a big donut fan, and he always references the legacy of this great long lost donut that he's in search for. And it's, you get a hub world, which is the village from the main game, and you go out into different biomes. So there's a jungle, there's a desert, there's an ice mountain, and it's basically broken up into 5 levels per each biome, with a boss fight at the end of it, gathering metal flowers to stop the big bad, which is the big kind of red. I won't go into the story because it's kind of spoilers for 2 games at the same time, but you know it, Richie. It's the same plot, and you go around, you fight.
Basically, a Lego human retelling of the first game.
Absolutely, and it's I'm really enjoying it. I'll probably have the platinum by this time next week, very, very easily, because the collectathon nature of a Lego game is fairly straightforward. You get X amount of gold bricks, X amount of buying Lego skins and buildings for your hub world, finish every level, get every character up to top XP, and you're pretty much done. So yeah, I'm having a great time with it.
To be honest, I'm thinking about this and like, how would we review this kind of game? Because we are clearly not the main target audience, the main demographic. No. It's skewed towards a younger audience. So I'm kind of gonna go. If you were, I don't know, 13 years old playing this, how would you kind of rate it?
I think I'd enjoy it all the same. We briefly touched on it during the Gears of War stream when you asked about it, and we saved it for this podcast. But if you were like a young child now, and you can't play the original Horizon, because I'd imagine it's quite violent in a way, right? You are attacking a lot of things, and it's a massive open world game. And if you were given this on a plate and you had siblings, because it is drop in, drop out, couch co-op as well, like old traditional Lego games. You can play online with somebody else, so there's multiple ways of playing it with friends or siblings and such, or loved ones. And I think if I was playing this as a 10, 11-year-old now, I'd play through it perfectly content and happy. It's a fun little story, it's quirky characters. At that age, you probably like the Lego movie. You probably play with Lego in some way. Remember, Lego Fortnite's huge as well. That's a thing. So Lego is very much front and center. And then I feel like we naturally associate it with like older demographics because of Lego and it traditionally being attached to older IP like Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, Star Wars. That's where they made their bread and butter. So I think some of the reviews have came at this like, oh, it's not a traditional Lego game. It's not, the IP isn't as big as some of the other IP that came before it. But I think that's a really good thing. And I think if you have children now, or you want to play a couch co-op game with your partner, and you don't want to exhaust a 70-hour open world AAA game with them, because they probably won't stick around for the story or the development while you're just bashing dinosaur crabs and tripping them up and setting bombs everywhere. But this is such a succinct, short, happy story to. I mean, it isn't happy because it's got some bad things, but it's designed for a younger audience. I think this is great. And then if I was a 10 or 11-year-old and then found out, as I maybe get a bit older, that actually there's 2 huge AAA 50-hour plus games out there that are based on this story and this IP, I think your mind would be blown. So yes, it's getting kind of 7s across the board from most people, but yeah, I'd put it about probably a 7.5 to 8 personally from what I've played so far. But as you said, based on a recommendation, I think you'd have a great time with it.
My concern about it is, you said you can probably get the platinum in 12 hours. It's currently priced at £60. Is that a bit steep for that length of game when it is got that kind of Lego simplicity and it's not a new narrative? It's
yes and no.
Yeah, it's a hard question to ask. I realise that.
I feel like it's one of those where I'm sure I actually got it on Amazon for $55.
Yeah, I've seen it cheaper. I'm just going by the PlayStation store and the Switch store. And Steam, it's all $60.
Again, physical. Yeah, on Amazon it's £54.93 right now. So, and that's only going to come down. I imagine Black Friday it'll probably get another 20% or something knocked off. So I think it's one of those where it's got a low price point, but it will diminish quite quickly over time. So if you're a little bit patient, you can probably pick it up at the end of the month for a little bit of a drop, or the Boxing Day sales or something like that. I think 70 would be way too much. I'm satisfied by the price point from what I'm getting so far. I think the replayability would come into it a lot. I think if you were playing with your children,
Yes.
Like families, because like kids don't care about replaying the same thing over and over again. Like we all experienced it when we were younger, partially because you couldn't afford to buy any other games. But I think you could go back and just do these same levels over and over again. Again, there are 4 characters, so in a way, you're probably going to have to go back through the story a couple of times to level them up to level 20 to get said platinum. But it means that there's going to be a stretch goal if you do want to play like the meta achievements within the game. There's plenty of unlockables for like weapon boosts and extra damage with fire and extra damage with explosives. So there is a skill tree you can collect studs for internally. But maybe maybe £40 would have probably been the sweeter price point for this.
That's where I was trying to get at. It feels like for a 12-hour platinum, and maybe if you do the 100% the game, you can push between 15 to 20 hours out of it.
Yeah.
If £60 price points feels steep. Unless it is like a revolutionary narrative experience, which LEGO is not.
Yeah, it's not. Reading some of the reviews just to give a bit of like shared context outside of my own. IGN gave it a 7 out of 10. LEGO Horizon Adventures reimagines Horizon Zero Dawn with a playful LEGO twist, simplifying the story while keeping the heart of its key moments and characters. GameSpot gave it a 7 out of 10. It's a blend of childlike style and mechanical substance that makes LEGO Horizon a lovely game for play for parents and child pairings, though it's also just neat to see these usually self-serious characters put through a washing machine loaded with crayons. Yeah. Nice little description there.
I think if this was 40 quid on release, I probably would have bought it.
It's
that's where I'm kind of up for it.
I think that my biggest takeaway from all this is it's not terrible, it's not the best, it's a LEGO game.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing is if PlayStation are willing to loosen the strings a little bit on other IP, because in a way, I actually feel like this style, this aesthetic, would maybe lend itself better to other IP. Like I feel like an Uncharted game.
The Last of Us.
Maybe not The Last of Us, but
it might
Uncharted.
Work, though. It's a bit more of a slapstick tone.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. That's what the LEGO games always did, right? They took IP and they made them comical and quirky. When I was actually playing the Indiana Jones 2, there's a part at the start of Indiana Jones Kingdom of the Crystal Skull where it starts and it's a Russian army convoy pretending to be Americans, and they're driving down through the desert heading to Area 51, and they're having a drag race almost with a couple of young college students, and the girls are in the back and they're trying to get the soldier to race them, and it's all like flirty. In the LEGO game, it's a bunch of groundhogs from the local desert driving one car, an ice cream man who sees the convoy go past, and he's trying to catch up with them to sell them ice creams. That's the type of comedy you get from a LEGO movie. It takes the basic and the mundane from a normal movie or an IP and twists it to make it humorous, and they do a great job in LEGO Horizon, especially because it does have a lot of the same voice cast returning. You get Laura Bailey, who's getting to play Aloy, but she's getting to like loosen a little bit from the usual strict. I think Aloy got a bit of criticism in Forbidden West for being a character didn't develop enough, and I think it's great to see her actually able to spread the wings. But yeah, I feel like the characters in other PlayStation IP, the God of War game, like the God of War level in Astrobot is super fun, partially because the Leviathan axe mechanics are just so damn amazing and satisfying. It works. So give me a LEGO game where I can throw a LEGO axe and recall it, or give me an Uncharted game when I can take cover and shoot a LEGO studs at people with the music in the background and the beautifully colourful world realised. Spider-Man LEGO? We see it in the LEGO Avengers games, but not in a fully realised, like, just a Spider-Man story.
Yeah, I think
Sony owns Spider-Man, so there's something there that could be done.
I think there's loads of stuff in the PlayStation IP you could do.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't think The Last of Us is a ridiculous shout, to be honest. Because imagine you fight a bloater and then it just pops into loads of like studs.
Little Lego fungus everywhere.
Yeah.
Again, this is the thing of it. It's another way that Sony can leverage their IP in their back catalogue to other mediums, and we've seen it. I think I mentioned it on 2 weeks ago when you were on the show. I would love them to take Horizon and put it in like a 2D 16-bit side-scroller, like a Metroidvania.
Like Persia Lost Crown.
Yeah, and we went in depth a little bit about what IP could work as different versions of itself. And I think if like PlayStation have willingly done this with Horizon, I think if it sells okay, actually in a weird way I think it'll sell more on Switch than it will on PlayStation because of the nature of it.
Yeah, 100%. I can see
you got 130 million
Switches.
Game. Yeah, I mean that's what I've played it predominantly on, the Portal, because it looks beautiful on that little screen. But yeah, Thoroughly enjoyed it. Definitely recommend it. Couple of points of note. Silence, obviously, Lance Reddick passed away, so he's not in the game. He does get a little nod to him, but he's replaced with Tim Russ. So now we know the credits of the game, now it's out. Tim Russ, who people might know from Star Trek, has stepped in to voice him. Doesn't sound anything like him, honestly. Like, knowing the first two games that I do, he doesn't even really try and replicate him, which I think that was probably the direction he was given.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes the best way to do it. It's like, I'm not him. I'm not going to try and be him. I'm just going to make the character my own.
Yeah, which works in the Lego game, because in this game, Richie is literally a DJ. Like, he loves... Yeah. I mean, he's not a DJ, he's still Silence, but his quirky thing is he's a DJ.
It might end up being Silence in the next Horizon game.
He might be, because I do think his character's like critical to the story of Horizon, especially where Forbidden West leaves off. Personally, I would like the guy from Alan Wake 2 who did Mr. Daw.
I've
Can't
not
remember.
I've not played Alan Wake 2,
David Harewood is the actor's name, and he sounds like him, like already. So I think that would be, and he already does video games because he did Alan Wake 2. Martian Manhunter from the DC TV series, the Arrowverse. But other than that,
They could do the War Machine approach, where they're just going to go recast him and just make a joke out of it.
Well, I mean, even then he's in a game, so it's not like they can't keep the likeness identical to Silence from the first two.
I'd change the likeness. With the way modern motion cap works, it's probably a lot easier for them to just cap it to the new guy.
Oh, I mean, for the motion caps, but I think for the consistency of the three games, why would Silence suddenly look different when you don't need to do that? I mean, there's a lot of people who probably wouldn't even notice, but like, because you've got a 5-year gap between each title. By the time 3 comes around, it's like, oh yeah, that's Silence. Crack on.
I think the most important question that I have to ask you about Lego Horizon Adventures is, which of the machines are you buying in Lego form when they come out?
None. I had to put a stop to my Lego purchasing a long time ago. I would have the Thunderjaw if I was to pick one.
I was going Thunderjaw. I can see
it's
it happening.
The coolest. It's a T-Rex, right?
Knowing my girlfriend, we will one day walk past a Lego store and she will drag me in, because that always happens, and I will walk out with a Thunderjaw.
You dragged in, like you don't want to go in anywhere.
Oh yeah, she'll see it and drag me and go, yeah, okay, let's go.
But yeah, I would.
Indeed. But I proposed a question at the start of the show, Chris. Is this podcast an Xbox? So Xbox has got a new marketing campaign out where they're basically saying everything is an Xbox. What's going on with Team Green? What's this all about?
I mean, not everything. They've gone for... They did actually put a blog post out about it, titled "This is an Xbox." It's their push, I think, to make people aware that your average consumer, they're spending significant marketing money over this Christmas period to make people realise that it's not just about a box anymore. And we've known this for some time, but we literally have covered the industry for half a decade, so we're the type of people who know this regardless.
And we started off in cloud gaming as well. Yeah,
so we knew it was branching out, and I think you've said for quite some time that the console, the box itself, the next will probably be their last, potentially.
I no longer actually believe that will be the case, because I think they've slowed down. I've said this before, this is not new. I've said it before that they've seemed to have slowed down on the push for cloud gaming, but it's still there. It's probably still in the plans to eventually not have an Xbox.
Yeah. And this is their long-term goal, and it has been for some time, as we've seen them, quite frankly, grow into more of a publisher. And as someone who has all the consoles and is more leaning towards PlayStation, I don't really mind this approach. I think Xbox have done... Albeit they haven't sold the most, I think they've done the most growth in terms of their ecosystem than any of the competition, and I'm a huge fan of the work they've done. We've seen it to a point where this ad campaign is essentially saying, like, look, there is the Xbox, the actual console, but so is a laptop, and so is a portable device, and so is a TV, and so is your phone, and so is a Fire Stick. This one isn't. This is a bento box that's actually for eating out of, but so is a MetaQuest, and so is the Series S, and so will be any future devices that can stream games because of how good xCloud or Xbox Cloud Gaming is. I think it's a really good way of unifying their ecosystem and going, look, average Joe on the street, you can play Xbox without having to invest that much, or if you with the devices you've already owned, which is back to cloud gaming. What we always start off is like the sheer cost of gaming now. and we've seen it with like the PS5 Pro last week, is it's getting astronomical, and your average person cannot keep up. But this type of ecosystem means the phone in your pocket, the stick in the back of your TV, the old console you already own or you can pick up cheap secondhand, it can all power the latest and greatest games. And guess what? You don't even have to drop $70, $80 on the title, because Game Pass comes with freaking everything. Yeah. And I think it's about the right time. I think everything's been building towards them really going, right, now we've got Call of Duty, we've got all these studios firing on all cylinders, and I think 2025 is going to be the first year in a long time of years of promise, where Xbox will have the cadence of game drops right. They've got the backing of massive titles like Call of Duty and stuff behind them. Black Ops 6 has done wonders. It's absolutely nailed it. There was always that risk that the first one under their banner could have been a failure after how bad Modern Warfare 3 was received last year, and it hasn't. It's done gangbusters. It's done really well. We don't know the Game Pass numbers yet, but I think, yeah, and it's a fun campaign. I like it. It's clean, it's to the point, and it's got a bit of quirkiness behind it with like this is a cat litter box. This isn't an Xbox.
And they're like, this is an Xbox. This actually isn't. Not everything's an Xbox.
Yeah, and there is an advert to go around with it, and I could see it. They've done a lot of partnerships with people as well. So
Samsung
in the UK
specifically, there's billboards up where it's got Samsung TVs and phones saying this is a Samsung TV or this is a Samsung phone. This is an Xbox.
Yeah, even outside of gaming, in the UK we have the Happy Egg Company, and they've got this as an eggs box. And it's so I'm guessing you're going to get, like, if you buy a pack of 6 eggs at your local supermarket, you might get a code for something. So they're going out there to be very clever with the marketing. And
imagine if you bought some eggs and got a month of Game Pass for free.
I mean, they do it with cans of Monster and Call of Duty codes and stuff, right? So it doesn't surprise me, but it's a quirky, fun one, and there's already plenty of memes out there now. I've seen a picture of a PS5 that says this is a PlayStation that also plays Xbox games, and it's like, yeah, it does. And Phil Spencer's been out doing a couple of interviews this week, hasn't he, where he's confirmed a couple of things.
So he spoke to Rolling Stone and quoting, "We'll definitely do more consoles in the future and other devices. Our biggest growth in Xbox players is on PC and cloud. The console space all up isn't growing across all of them. We love these customers, but in terms of continuing to expand and grow Xbox, it's about PC, it's about cloud, and it's about making our games more available in more places." So he's basically saying the console space is already fully saturated. It's not growing.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get Xbox in the hands of more people if they're not buying the consoles?
Yeah.
He's confirmed they're doing more consoles and for other devices, which we'll get into in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think this is the right move? I'm guessing, going by what you've said already, that you think this is the right move to not target trying to poach people from PlayStation or Nintendo, but to go, how can we get other people playing Xbox?
Absolutely. I think it's the best way of consolidating all of their pillars under one quick and snappy ad campaign at the time of year when people are actively looking to buy things for their kids and their family and their loved ones and such. It feeds into that ecosystem of, you can get it cheaper, you can get it more expensive. They're basically ticking a box for everyone. And like you and me, you're on the Series S train.
Yep.
Next cycle round, who knows? Like, we could get to a world where actually cloud gaming through my PC with Game Pass Ultimate and a Fire Stick is good enough for me. We'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it. But
I do have a negative point out, because you know how Xbox have unified the Xbox Game Pass and the normal Xbox app? They have fucked up.
Yes.
They have fucked up cloud gaming on that.
Because
you cannot cloud game through your phone. You have to use a browser now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You cannot open up the Xbox app, go pick a game, and cloud game through the app. That functionality isn't in there. And if you look for it, it says you have to boot up a browser and then play through the browser. So you can still cloud game on your phone, but it's clunky and horrible, and they shouldn't have unified the apps until it was... I don't like when they do these iterative approaches. Just make the next version what you want it to be before you launch it.
Is this down to that third-party sales on a app store? The problem they're having, is it like iOS the driver behind it?
No consumer cares about that. I want all the Xbox. You've made one Xbox app. I want to be able to use all Xbox functionality through there.
Yeah, I agree. Which the Game Pass app
you can say that's the reason why, but it doesn't matter. It's a terrible reason. You're still then fragmenting the functionality across two apps. One of them, just instead of being Xbox Game Pass, is now Google Chrome. So it's just I don't personally play on my phone very often, but it is something I have noticed, and they need calling out for that. It's like, don't release the app until you're ready, till it's all functionality there. Because
even the old app, when you click to play, it says set up your device for cloud gaming, launch a supported browser, then go to xbox.com/play, sign in.
Where I found the information through the old Game Pass app, which is now defunct, but you don't get that information through the normal Xbox app.
Right. So to pin on your home screen, select more button, then add to home screen. The problem I hate about adding browsers to my home screen is it gives you like a generic browser app icon. And as someone who's very particular about my home screen layout on my phone, which I argued about when I got my Pixel, that's something that they could. I do think it's probably to do with the marketplace problems they're having with iOS and Android, but it should be remedied.
Your custom lists and stuff aren't there either. So I want to open up my Xbox app and access my play later list on my app, on my console, on my PC. Should be the same list. It should be unified. That's where they're falling down with this is an Xbox push. I don't think they're fully unified across all devices, and it needs to be that, for me, that seamless experience across wherever you play. Wherever you play, you should be open up the Xbox app, whether it's on PC, on your Xbox, on your phone, on your Fire Stick, and have all the same functionality.
Maybe when they get to a handheld device, they'll like a Windows 10 to Windows 11 launch, they'll reunify the whole thing under one new new OS umbrella.
Yeah, I hope so, but it's something that I've had a big bugbear about Xbox. Xbox's UI is terrible still, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't think the update they did was it this year or last year, did anything useful.
Yeah, the tab bar, remember when we tried to play Lego 2K Drive and it wouldn't load for whatever reason?
Yeah.
We tried to install it, the cloud version wouldn't let us in. I can't remember what it was, but we basically had to cancel our live stream that week because it wouldn't work. The icon is still on my home screen. I've uninstalled the game, but the icon still sits there because I boot it up in cloud via the console. It just sits there until I delete more games or install more games. It's just on that dashboard. And it again is an icon, man. It bugs me that it's there. But yeah, Phil said a couple more things. One of the things that I don't think it's in our news doc, but he did touch on is like they're still in the market for more acquisitions, looking specifically at things like Asian markets. So maybe they're looking at snapping up a couple more devs to pad out that list. We thought they'd spent enough money with the acquisition of ABK, 76 billion. That's pocket change. We can buy a few more. So
yeah. They're trying to crack the Asian markets, are they? So by getting more Asian-based developers on board into the Xbox family means that they're going to have, more representation within their company from that part of the world who understand that audience better than you or I or Phil Spencer does, which means they'll be able to cater for making games to different people, and it's just to having that representation within your workplace effectively, like understanding different cultures, and the best way to understand different cultures is to have people from different cultures working with you.
Yeah, if only they had a studio that was based in, like, say, Japan, maybe something like called something similar to like Tango Gameworks, put out like a great game in the last year that you could build around like an Asian headquarters. If only,
Yeah, it would be a good thing that, and didn't they come out with like a smash hit, like a surprise hit as well, and then got put down because they weren't in currently development of anything, which is just. I think that was more Microsoft than Xbox, putting pressure on Xbox cut costs, unfortunately.
It's all like weird tax circles and write-offs and closures and locations and leases and that, but we won't get into that. Let's talk about some positive Xbox news, which you did confirm. They've
confirmed a handheld.
Yeah, nice.
But don't expect it anytime soon.
Damn it.
It's damn it, but it's at least nice that they have mentioned it. I think, to be honest, reading between the lines of like the interviews and stuff, I think he was speaking to Bloomberg about this one.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because things like the Steam Deck exist already and can play Xbox stuff. So they don't need to rush to the market because that space is already filled. So what they need to do is probably have a device that is the de facto way to play Xbox on the go.
Yeah. Do you think they're maybe saving it for like the next line of consoles? So you launch with a new home console, you launch with a handheld, you launch with another Series S like variant maybe. So like this is the suite of the next line of Xbox together in one.
If I was them, I'd dust off Keystone. I know it's effectively just a Fire Stick, but dust off Keystone, so you have that. Then you have the handheld, which replaces effectively the Series S in your lineup. Have it dockable to your TV, similar to the Switch.
So you're thinking, I like it.
And then you have the full fat console, which is the premium experience. So then you could just dock your handheld. Now it has the performance of the equivalent of the Series S. You can connect your controllers to it. There you go. The Switch has already made people comfortable with that idea in terms of consoles. You got your Fire Stick or Keystone, which then just plugs into the back of the TV. This is the lightest way to play it. It's cloud only, where the handheld is cloud plus installable, and then you've got a Series X.
I mean,
there's your SKUs.
Yeah, everything you've said there is hitting the nail on the head for me. I think that would be a phenomenally smart business approach.
Yeah.
Especially because Microsoft have committed to that backwards compatibility model. And they've said even like with the next gen, like Series S will still be in consideration for that. And then when it becomes too out of date, they'll back that up with cloud. Like you can boot up an Xbox One right now and play Indiana Jones next month via cloud through your console. I think I love that dockable idea. I feel like if that suite came out, I would opt for the handheld version.
I'm going to give credit to Pure Xbox for that idea because I'm looking at an article they've written, and at the top of it there's an image of some sort of handheld. I don't know which one it is, and it looks like it's sat in a dock, but the Steam Deck is also dockable. So it's not really my idea, but I can see how that would fill the spot of a Series S, but actually then be more functional than a Series S because it's portable. So then you'd have double dip, then people would double dip.
Yeah, I think that's a ROG ally.
Yeah, because
or an ROG.
I reckon if they did that for this generation, you'd have Series X's behind us, and then we'd also have one of a Series S handheld.
Yeah, it's thinking about like the landscape as well. I think holding off is smart.
Yeah, I would make a portrait. That'd be weird.
Because Nintendo are about to come out with a Switch 2 finally next year, and I think the risk if they went like this Christmas, for example, on next year, they risk being blown away by whatever the Switch 2's launch library is and the swell of interest in Nintendo properties that come with that. So I think they're smart to maybe see what the tech is in the Switch 2, because Microsoft can match it one for one if they need to, if not go well beyond it. Like the Series S, and my guess is a Switch 2 is probably going to be a little bit more powerful than a Series S, is what Nintendo are aiming for. They're usually a generation or 0.2 behind, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the Switch 2 for me, you want to hit at least Series S.
Yeah. Which would mean Xbox could make a handheld dockable going forward that would still support their model.
And I think as well, the thing that's killing the Switch now is not the games that are coming out. It is very much at the limitation of what it can do.
Yeah.
So then by making it on par with, say, a Series S, you're extending the lifespan of the platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is...
But there's another caveat to that one you've got to remember as well, is Xbox are looking to put as much out on multi-platform. Like, let's face it, Phil actually said this week he didn't shy away. I think they've done a very tactical... Remember the initial announcement, we're going to bring 5 games over, and they all sat there on their bar stools and together, Sarah Bond and Matt Booty and all went, yep, these games are going to come over to other platforms. And then we got like Sea of Thieves and stuff on PlayStation. And like some people on the internet kicked off, the majority don't give a toss. And then now you've got, Indiana Jones is coming to PS5 next spring. That's like less than half a year turnaround. And now this week he was commented saying things like he wouldn't say no to potentially all IP such as Halo coming over to PlayStation. And that's the world we and Microsoft as a publisher live in. They've just seen huge year-on-year growth of Call of Duty on PlayStation and PC. That's where their money is, because they've admitted several times over now there is no growth in their console market.
There's no growth in the console market, and their share seems to be locked.
So thinking bigger picture, if they look at the Switch 2, if they can match that with the handheld of their own, I could see a lot more of their titles going to Switch 2 as well, because it can handle them. And then by proxy, they're probably also looking at PlayStation going, hang on a minute, they're doing phenomenally well with this Portal device right now. So if we can make a Series S on par with a Switch 2 device, that docks, as you said, part of our new lineup. It also has the cloud element to back it up, which is arguably one of the best in class in terms of game libraries in the cloud. I think, again, it seems crazy saying like a couple of years ago when they were buying things up and they were struggling console-wise, but Microsoft will always be looking at the long-term growth, and I think they are really looking at, especially with Activision Blizzard King, a decade, 2 decades beyond where they're at now. And the console sales aren't doing great, but they're thinking of like 2020, 2030, 2040 and beyond.
I think saying they're not doing great is a bit of a misnomer. They are doing really well, but they're not growing. So if you only look at the value of the platform in terms of its growth, it's not doing great, but then you can make the same argument about PlayStation and Nintendo. Because it's overall, that entire market isn't growing.
Yeah.
So the only way to get more people is to poach one from the other, or people double dipping, which is probably negligible numbers across the entire thing. Most people probably buy one platform, one generation. Mm-hmm. But then as a corporation, they need to grow, so you target other areas. Cloud is, I think, ripe for the picking, because GeForce Now is doing incredible, but it feels very much PC, if that makes sense. I think a lot of console gamers probably not looking at GeForce Now. A lot of casual gamers not looking at GeForce Now.
No.
You slap an Xbox onto that, it's much more of a recognisable, I think, gaming IP. And then I think it makes that accessibility, especially if it is, you can go into a shop, £200 to £300, buy a handheld device, so now you can play the latest Call of Duty, the latest FIFA on the go. Or guess what? You can play them on the cloud, or you can install them. But Call of Duty is huge, so you're probably not going to install that. It's dockable onto your TV, or you can even dock it onto your monitor, stick a mouse and keyboard if you prefer. I think Xbox really have the opportunity to tap into the PC market, which is currently dominated by Steam.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And we've got to remember November, well, actually to the day, Richie, this time next year, November 15th, is Xbox's 25th anniversary.
That could be the time.
That falls perfectly. You celebrate, you talk about the future, you consolidate this ecosystem into a brand new suite of tech. That's all singing, all dancing.
Imagine if they did
I'm excited just talking about it, and I'm not even an Xbox fan.
Showcase when you know what? Here's some limited edition consoles for this generation. Now let's talk about the next one.
Yeah, we're going to launch with a special. I mean, look at PlayStation with the 30th anniversary stuff.
It's going to be 2027 or something.
Yeah,
we're just telling you about it now. Get in front of it.
Exciting times ahead. But I like the idea of that lineup. I can picture myself buying a handheld Xbox in the next 2 years, and I'm excited for it. Because Game Pass delivers for me.
You would double dip if you could buy the mid-tier version was a portable device. You double dip, and then you might buy a Fire Stick to stick in a different room.
Yeah, I might have a Switch 2 by then as well, and who knows. But
you know what?
It's exciting times.
You might be playing this month's PlayStation Plus editions.
I might well be. What are they?
So what have we got this month? We have Grand Theft Auto 5 makes a return, probably for the 8th million time.
Yeah, pass.
Dying Light 2, Stay Human.
Big get.
Like a Dragon, Ishin. MotoGP 24. The Sims 4 Island Living expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Digimon Survive. Overcooked, all you can eat, huge get. That's the one.
Which I'm sure that's always already been on it. So again, this is the catalogue library, right? It's not claimable games, so I feel like we've maybe claimed several of these in the past.
Yeah, I don't think it's been claimable. I don't think it's been a catalogue one because usually there's an asterisk next to it from the PlayStation blog denoting that it is being returned. Stick Fight, the game. Do you remember Stick Fight, the Flash game?
I do remember Stick. Yeah,
is this like a PlayStation 4 version of that game?
It's probably someone who grew up with it, seeing things like Fall Guys and Nidhogg have success, and go, you know what? Yeah, let's do Stick Fight.
Clash, Artifacts of Chaos, which to be honest looks a bit like a knockoff God of War.
Never heard of it, but yeah.
Kill Frequency, Hungry Shark World, Chivalry 2, Synapse, which is PSVR 2, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, which is
shout that.
Yeah, Blood Omen 2, Resistance Fall of Man, Resistance 2.
Yeah, the Legacy of Kain ones, I think, are Origins leading up to Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remaster, which launch next month.
Okay.
So they're kind of like, I guess, whet your appetite for the main entries coming in a remastered form next month. But yeah, it's a decent list. Added them to the library. I think, as always, it's always a big win.
Didn't Like a Dragon Machine only come out last year as well?
I don't know with these things. I mean, Dying Light 2 is not that old, so it's up there. There's that many Like a Dragons. Like every 6 months we get one now. So
I'm completely wrong. It's Wikistain 2014.
Oh, is it like a remaster? I don't know.
I don't know.
Let us know in the comments.
I could have sworn there was a last year.
There's a long list of games that have been added.
There's an IGN review from February 2023.
Okay.
Maybe there was a remake of it. So what would your pick of the bunch be? Dying Light?
Dying Light 2, I think, is the big one. But then I would say...
Dying Light 1 already in the catalogue?
It will have been at some point, I feel. Yeah. But yeah, as far as the catalogue goes, there's 2 you've missed off, which are my biggest ones.
Which 2?
Resistance, dude.
I called them out. I said them.
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought we got to Blood Omen and then stopped.
No. I said Resistance.
Switched off. I was probably reading too much into what Legacy. I might have chipped in with the Legacy of Kain stuff there.
I think you did. You were thinking about something else while I was talking.
Probably. Resistance Fall of Man. I've said many times in this podcast they're unplayable on modern tech, and here they are. With the caveat, Richie, and it bugs me because it doesn't say it on the blog. These are stream only.
Yeah.
These 2. So Resistance Fall of Man from Insomniac, of course, of Spider-Man fame and Ratchet and Clank fame. This is their PlayStation trilogy of shooters, although we're not getting 3, annoyingly enough. 2006, the first one came out as part of the PlayStation 3's launch window. And then we've got Resistance 2, which is a continuation as well. Don't know where 3 is for some reason. But yeah, cloud only, so you can stream it, which is a bit of an interesting one. These are PS3 titles, and we know the cell processing emulation is still fecked up in the background. But they've been doing really well with the classic games coming over with trophies in support. But clearly they still can't get that emulation thing down. But in terms of games, Dying Light 2 and then these 2 are up there for me.
I'm glad you mentioned emulation, because that's what I was actually just going to bring up. What I think Sony need to do is have a quick Google, figure out who is making the most popular PS3 emulator out there, hire them, and turn them into basically a virtual studio, and tell them, right, we want you to put your emulator on the PS5 so we can bring PS3 games running natively via an emulation layer. Why not do that? PS3 emulation exists. It can be done for PC. I fully believe that the PS5's hardware is capable of emulating PS3 games.
Yeah, I mean they can do 1, 2, 4, and 5. It's just 3. So
yeah, it's because of it's the unique way like the hardware of PS3 works.
Yeah,
but this is why you do it via an emulation layer.
Yeah, they need to do something, because it's getting to that point where it's like it's stand out a joke now almost, where like I thoroughly love this going back and playing older games that have been like slightly up-res, slightly perform better with trophy support. I've got the platinum in. It was Daxter. I did the first Jak and Daxter game. I've just recently done Time Splitters 3. And then this would have been one that I would have went, you know what? Yeah, I'll go back and play Resistance Fallen Man, maybe get the platinum, but like, not because it's streaming, because the streaming element means I don't think it comes with trophies as well, and the quality won't be as great because they don't seem to put any effort into the streamed versions. It has to be a native local version where they go back and actually do some stuff with it. So I'll maybe have a look at it.
Stuff and PlayStation Store is a bit fragmented between platforms, is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say as well is quite annoying is you cannot play these on the portal because they're streamed. Yeah. Which sounds insane to say. A dedicated cloud device can't play a streamed game, but because the portal is only remote play only, which they still need to fix. In my opinion, I think it is a flaw in the device. As much as I love my portal, it's still a flaw that you can't play cloud streamed games, and because you can't remote play a cloud stream game, it means that you cannot play these games on your portal.
Yeah, I know, which is where I would probably want to play the most of it. But if you've not played Resistance before, it's Insomniac, so fantastic developer. Just reading from the back of my PS3 box here. Listen for this from a premise, Richie. When the Russians closed their borders, we feared they were developing a weapon of unparalleled power. The truth was far worse. Without warning, the Chimera attacked from the east, and in just 2 months, Europe fell. And as the Chimera hunted down the remaining survivors, the last resistance fighters rose up from the ruins of Great Britain. Never underestimate humanity's will to survive.
Nice.
Dun, dun, dun. Go shoot some bugs. Resistance is great.
Go shoot some bugs. Or you could go back over the Xbox on Game Pass and play Spyro the Dragon. Because the Reignited Trilogy is out now on Game Pass.
Yes. Stealth drop happened this week. My boy Spyro dropping on cloud. I would have done a first look this week if we hadn't had
a million
Lego and
Horizons,
and Gears to finish.
Gears, yeah.
I might get back to it. We don't know. But yeah, Spyro the Dragon. We knew part of the Activision Blizzard deal that he would be there eventually. We had Crash Bandicoot drop about a month ago now as well. So yeah, you can go play Spyro Reignited Trilogy in the cloud. Richie, where are you with Spyro?
I don't really have much nostalgia for Spyro. I like Spyro, but I've never finished a Spyro game.
I've
never owned a Spyro game, actually.
Well, I know for a fact your girlfriend is a huge Spyro fan.
Oh, me too. I know that.
So much so that she remembers the location of every gem in the first game.
Her brain for that sort of stuff is ridiculous, by the way. Like, she just remembers like where all collectibles are in every single game. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
I was playing Jedi Survivor and she goes, if you take left there, go down there, you'll find a collectible. And it's like, oh yeah, there's one. like
it's not a bad way to be when you're trophy hunting. But yeah, Spyro 1, 2 and 3 reignited. While we wait for the next entry for this little purple dragon, this'll do me. So you can play it via the cloud, part of Game Pass now. So again, if you're like a lapsed gamer trying to get back in, and you see like, Game Pass, I don't have to pay 70, 80 quid. I just subscribe for a month, and then you see you've got all the Crash Bandicoot games, all the Spyro games. You've got Age of Empires on PC. You've got Warcraft coming as well. How do you not look at it and go, damn, like Xbox, that's such good value for money if you're a lapsed gamer?
I know we've already talked about Xbox really need a handheld device. My nephews love their Switches. Mm-hmm. This game, I think they would love Spyro on a handheld. And with
the remake's great.
And with the Game Pass model, my brother and sister, they pay a monthly fee, don't have to care.
Yeah.
He's all the games you could ever want.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
100%. You know what was great once, Chris? Warcraft.
Still is.
Still is, arguably. So
make Warcraft great again.
Warcraft 3 Reforged came out a few years back.
Yeah.
And let's just say it came out a few years back. They got rid of the original Warcraft 3. They made it so you couldn't download it. I think they closed off the online servers. And they made the game worse.
Mm-hmm.
The original Warcraft 1 and 2 have now been remastered. Not reforged, remastered.
Yeah, stay away from that branding. 30 years, right? Warcraft now. 30-year-old. We were celebrating it last week. Me and Rob covered it, I think. You played 3, haven't you?
I played 3. Oh, yeah, I've played the hell out of 3.
I think I played I think I had 2, but I got 2 after I'd played 3. So that like kind of going back and the story not lining up or making sense, and the certain features of like building your base that you couldn't do. It's why I think with RTSs the sequels are always better, because they iterate on themselves quite a lot. That's why Age of Empires 2 is to 3. That's what I'm saying. So the second version is always the superior to the first one. With most games, sometimes the sequels aren't quite as good, like movies. But I feel like in terms of RTS, the second entry is always better than the first.
Because the first one kind of sets out what the game should be. The second one builds on it. Sometimes the third one builds on that, which is what happened with Warcraft. And then they just never seem to capture the magic again. Because I don't think, as much as Age of Empires 3 and 4 are beloved, they haven't captured the magic of 2.
Nah, it's not the same. It's Age of Empires 2, Command and Conquer Red Alert 2, Battle for Middle-earth 2. What else is there? You've said Age of Empires. I'm sure there's Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. Anything on an isometric grid, if you've got a 2 on it, it's the best version. Zoo Tycoon 2. I can keep going. But it's nice to see, again, as video game preservation goes and keeping the classics alive with a fresh coat of paint, I am always down for. The fact that all 3 are now available, I think it's fantastic. And at a good price as well.
Indeed. What the price is, $9.99 each?
Yeah. Tenner.
And Reforged is $40.
And they didn't say in the post, did there, about Game Pass, but you would imagine as part of them being owned by Microsoft, they'll be in Game Pass at some point, if not already. It says they're available on Battle.net and stuff, but
possibly, I'd imagine, yeah. If they're not already, they will become. They are part of the Activision block, though, so it might take a little bit more time because they've only just launched Spyro, so there might be a bit of lag on getting them over.
Yeah, and there's obviously big rumours of a Warcraft, World of Warcraft for console as well, if I'm not mistaken. It keeps coming back up. So I think they've probably got big plans for this IP across the Xbox Game Pass and console suite. It's just, like I said, timing.
I've wanted a Warcraft 4 for a long time, but World of Warcraft still is going on. Can everyone please just stop playing World of Warcraft so we can get a Warcraft 4? Then we can start World of Warcraft up again after.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. The Age of Mythology team are free now as well. Like, they've just wrapped up on Reforged.
Could do.
Next project. Sat waiting for them. But speaking of next projects,
South of Midnight, with the previews are out. So it's set in the American South, and it's getting comparisons to Kena Bridge of Spirits, a game I didn't click with, actually. You did, though.
I clicked big with Kena Bridge of Spirits. South of Midnight. This is the one that when it was revealed at the showcase, it was the summer showcase, I think. It's from Compulsion, so I think like We Happy Few was the last game they did in like 2019, I think it was.
It looked gorgeous when we saw it.
It did. It looked great. And I think the Kena Bridge of Spirits comparisons are very fitting. But yeah, I was listening to a podcast. They actually put out a half-an-hour documentary of like the making of this past week, which is great because we usually don't get an insight into video games before launch. Some of them do like an after-the-fact like retcon and everything of like how it was made. But they went into like analysing the deep American South, the kind of the bayou trend, the folklore that you get in this game, because it has got like fantasy and whimsy to it. You've got your main character Hazel, who's going to be a weaver of magic, and she controls threads around us. So that's where I think the Kena comparisons are also coming in. You can traverse the world, typical double jump, air dodge, grapple, glide. The animation looks gorgeous. The soundtrack is getting really high praise. They brought on loads of musicians from the deep south of the US to build it. There's a gentleman, I think he's about 25-year-old. He's like a soul jazz singer, but he sounds like a 65-year-old. His voice is like unique as all hell. Not too long in length. The previews have said they're looking for about probably 12 hours for the campaign, which is about right for Compulsion. They are a small studio, which I think a lot of people forget when looking at the last entry with We Happy Few. And overall, I'm just getting huge vibes. They've showed off some gameplay about where you fight like a giant alligator. I think he's called like someone Tom, like Two-Toe Tom or something like that, who can talk. And there's like it just feels like it's got this really cool, like if anyone's seen Princess and the Frog, the Disney animated movie, it's got like a really quirky bayou. It's all going to be about the music and family and like the folklore of like what's out there in the swamps and stuff with giant alligators and voodoo magic.
I think that's always cool when you start seeing video games explore other cultures that you probably, like us in the UK, not really familiar about, like the Louisiana kind of deep south kind of areas of America. We know of them, but it's very much so far removed from where we are.
Yeah,
it's
intriguing, isn't it? Ghost of Tsushima, the same. Like, I thoroughly love Ghost of Tsushima because everything I was learning about the history of Japan and clans and samurai and the culture and the honor and respect, which you knew little bits of, but very little. Same goes for this. Interestingly enough, the performance director is Ahmed Best, Richie, who you probably know as he played Jar Jar Binks in episode 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's obviously he pioneered motion capture for a lot of cinema inadvertently, without realising it. The stupid rubber head and the balls and stuff in the voice that came with it. Yeah, he's the performance director. He's also playing a character who they've not revealed yet. I suspect he's going to be the villain in this game, like the big bad. And if we're talking... maybe. And we're talking Louisiana mythical creatures and folklore, voodoo plays a huge part in that. Think like little skulls and lots of purple and green magic and the death and stuff like that. Again, if you've not seen Princess and the Frog, that's your girlfriend will get you to watch it, Richie. It's one of them really great Disney movies that it's very, very overlooked, but the kind of the tradition of voodoo and like the tarot card reading and stuff is all a big part of it. So I think, judging by the trailer and the clips we've seen, I think that's going to lean into it. But 12 hours, gorgeous action RPG. They did say in the previews, which is a bit of an interesting thing, there's no combat between battle areas. So when you're traversing and exploring, there's no like people to bump into and fight until you get to like a next closed off arena area, which that's left the people a bit like, oh, what's the exploration going to be like? Is it just quite linear, then a fight area, then linear, then a fight area, which is kind of Uncharted if you think about it, like that style. So I think people are reading too much into it a little bit.
Sometimes when you're exploring, enemies are just annoying. They just get in your way. And if it's not a game that has like RPG mechanics where you might want to grind to level up, why do you need it?
Absolutely.
So, I'm going to take the assumption that they've thought about a long time about this and thought, no, the game is better without random miscellaneous enemies cluttering up the map.
I would take out the enemies and quite happily just go for some puzzle solving and exploration. Like, show me how gorgeous this art style can look in this new area, in this new style of world that we've not seen much of in this medium.
And because it's not entirely a combat simulator, you're probably going to get more immersed in the lore of the place. Yeah. Because you're not trying to read something while getting attacked by an enemy or listen to an audio log, and you'll probably get more engrossed in the culture, which is good.
It says traversals like double jump, air dodge, grapple, glide. So I can see them movements coming into play when it is exploration. Like you need to get to the top of a roof or across a tree line, and I think that could play into it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really hyped. This is probably, after Indiana Jones, this is my next big Xbox One, and we're probably looking at it for like Q1 2025, I reckon. Oh no, we've got Avowed Fest, haven't we? So they're probably looking summertime, maybe.
It's just 2025 at the moment. I feel autumn. It feels like an autumn game to me. I don't know why. Probably
I can see it like summer, autumn. Yeah, it's again the color palette of the South in America is warm, humid, very lush and green. So yeah, playing into it. But I'm looking forward. Good. I'm glad the previews are good. I'm hyped.
Me too. And it's coming to Game Pass, so that's perfect for us.
Indeed.
Let's move on to we do have some news on Dragon Quest III HD 2D. I'm just going to touch on this one briefly, though. It's getting pretty good reviews, to be honest. I don't really have much more to say about it. I'm very interested in this game, but it's a little too... I don't know why. It feels a bit too pricey at the moment.
How much is it?
I think it's a $70 game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which shouldn't be a problem, considering it is a huge game, but I don't know, it's at the moment it's on my radar, but I'm not sold.
You've got 100 hours to put into Metaphor before you even consider that.
At the time of recording, it's currently on an 85 Metacritic rating on PS5. So it is doing very, very well. But this is one where I hope it just comes down in price a bit more. I don't have time to play it now at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping by the time I get round to playing it, it's come down in price a bit. But I think it's one, if you are interested, it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
As it stands. Shall we move on to unfortunate news, Chris? Tequila Works.
Tequila!
One of the studios
Literally.
that supported Stadia. I don't.
R.I.P.
They have filed for insolvency as the heads of the studio are leaving. So Tequila Works made games such as Rhyme and the first full playthrough on this channel. No, it wasn't the first full playthrough.
No, Tomb Raider was.
Tomb Raider was the first. I think it was a first for the channel. I think it might have been the first full.
First Stadia exclusive playthrough.
Yeah, first Stadia exclusive playthrough in Guild.
Yeah, back in 2019. So the Google legacy lives on.
It's a shame to see a studio go, because Guild, I think... Did Guild ever make it to any other platforms?
Yeah, they did like a full relaunch across PS4, 5, the Nintendo Switch.
Was it just
I
one
tweeted about it a few times.
Yeah.
It just lost momentum. Like when you're an old game getting re-released, you just don't have it. And yeah, maybe it was just too small of a game to do good, but...
I think it's one
Shame.
where if it came to... I don't think it ever came to PlayStation Plus. That's where it could have found its footing.
Yeah,
but
that Stadia stank over it though by then.
Yeah, but I do recommend playing Guild, because you can get it for like £6-7 on the PlayStation Store at the moment. Or you could just watch our entire playthrough on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, well, we've got terrible camera quality, bad green screen editing, poor mic
God, yeah, we used
sound.
green screen for some of it.
Yeah. It didn't look terrible, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, there's a reason we don't do a lot of green screen now. It's just
not worth it.
Without us having a permanent studio location where we can both go to, it's a lot of setup for very little benefit.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Just put us in a box.
Indeed.
Like Tequila Works.
Where do you want to go next, Chris?
I think just quickfire the last ones.
Yeah,
there's like quite a few new stories, but they're nothing really that we really need to get in depth into.
So, as one studio closes, another opens. New studio, Republic Games, is founded by former Quantic Dream writer to make a dark fantasy RPG. Another one? We've got quite a lot of them at the moment, with investment from Crafton, the PUBG guys.
Yeah, makes sense. We saw them do it with the guys who just released Callisto Protocol. They were like a start-up new studio. So Crafton, I think, are trying to spend their PUBG money wisely where they're seeing. If you've got veteran talent coming through, start a studio, and the way people can make some crack and stuff. We saw it with like the likes of Kena Bridge of Spirits, an indie studio, the first ever game, but they make a AAA Pixar quality looking game because they've got talent. And if he's got 10 years experience writing story-driven, brilliant games like Heavy Rain, like Detroit Become Human, he's been working on Star Wars Eclipse. Who the fudge knows where Star Wars Eclipse is? Remember that trailer that dropped 3 years ago now at Game Awards or something? Seen nothing from it. So
Adam Williams, the head of this new studio, has said the game is going to be like Tolkien's Lord of the Rings meets Orwell's 1984.
Wow, there's a premise for you.
A tyrannical regime is brutally enforcing its ideology and crushing all dissent. Sounds like it could be interesting. So when it said dark fantasy, my eyes rolled a bit, because my mind went to something like a Dark Souls, an Elden Ring, and there feels still lots of them at the moment, but it feels like he's going in a different kind of direction, which could be interesting, because dark fantasy is ripe for the picking, actually, but not everything has to be a Dark Souls clone.
No, I don't think it will look.
And I'm not even talking gameplay here. I'm just talking in terms of the tone of the narrative. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
We'll wait 5-6 years to see what that looks like then.
Yeah. I wonder if I just reading that I remembered about Star Wars Eclipse. Like, when's that out?
Like, we don't know. Like, it's been several years since the reveal, and it's been many, many years since Detroit Become Human, so they've been grafting away, but who knows?
Quickly moving on to the next story then. EA boss Andrew Wilson is reportedly tapped for Disney top job.
Yeah, makes sense. Big corporate CEO moves and takes over other big giant corporate CEO job. He's got experience in... Like Andrew Wilson has 10 plus years experience working at a massive corporation dealing with IP. Disney is in that vein, and Bob Iger, who's currently Disney's CEO, he retired, handed it over to a guy called Bob Chapek. He essentially messed it up through COVID and lockdown. Bob Iger came out of retirement, out of the chair of directors to steady the ship again, and now eventually he's looking to step aside again. And honestly, I don't think an EA boss is the worst kind of guy to get. He knows the industry. He's had deals with Disney before with like the EA license for Star Wars.
There's definitely memes out there about Disney Plus now having microtransactions.
Yeah, I mean, EA is the most hated company still 10 years in a row or something, but Disney are a corporate entity just like any other, and this guy deals in the millions, and so does Disney, so...
Yeah, they're going to turn like everything into a stupid card game that you have to pay money to play.
Hopefully not.
Disney Ultimate Team.
Yeah. I mean, if you remember as well, he brokered a deal recently worth like $1.5 billion for Disney and Fortnite to make content together. So he's out there making deals.
Yes, yeah. But I suppose the job of a CEO is probably very similar from company to company. When you get to that kind of huge level, the portfolio is different, but
absolutely
your role within the organisation.
Absolutely.
Black Myth Wukong gets a physical deluxe edition arriving on December the 12th. What's arriving? Arriving on December the 12th. Make you more interested in playing it, Chris?
No, I thought it was already out, to be honest. It was one of them things where it sold 10 point something million. I just presumed it had a physical release, so...
We probably covered it on a podcast where it didn't have a physical release, or it's probably been buried in some of the stories, and we focused more on the game and the gameplay rather than... Because it wasn't the game that either of us were clamouring to play, I think that's when we tend to notice if it has a physical release or not, when we're actively looking into buying it ourselves.
Yeah, most likely. So, yeah, great for physical collectors. It's one of, if not one of the best sellers of the year, so more power to the physical people.
Yeah. We've got some further news where Atomfall officially launches on Xbox Game Pass in March 2025. A nuclear disaster has left an area of Britain in tatters. Atomfall, a new survival action game, will see you explore, scavenge, craft, barter and fight your way through beautifully recreated scenery in search of answers.
I think this looks great, this one. It's one that was at... Yeah, it was Rebellion, so Sniper Elite, Zombie Army, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks great. It's got an interesting take on Britain after a fallout. Atomfall, it's another game with fall in the title. But it going into Game Pass means I'll probably play it day one, and if it sticks, it could be a good win for early spring. This
is one where I think it'd be quite, with it being quite a survival game, it'd be interesting to see if it has co-op. Because that could be a cool story. I think survival games tend to work quite well when the multiplayer.
Yeah, you get a bit of a back and forth about survival techniques, shared resources, that kind of thing. Because I think
we had fun playing things like Valheim and Grounded as well on the channel. Lego Fortnite.
Yeah. Atomfall, I like it, and it could fill that Fallout niche as well in the meantime.
But you know what won't fill any niche any time at the moment, Chris? Splinter Cell.
No.
The movie has been cancelled. I forgot there even was a movie in the works.
So did I, with Tom Hardy apparently attached to be in it.
Tom Hardy is Mr. Splinter Cell.
Sam Fisher? Sam Fisher, great. But yeah, we've got the animated one coming to Netflix still. I think that's called Death Watch, but we don't know when that is. I think I'd imagine it's probably early next year now. But just Ubisoft continuing to mess around with their IP. Like, we're probably many years out from a game still. And cancelled. Apparently, the producers just couldn't get it right. The script and the timings and the budget. Great.
So just basically nothing worked. And then, so we're still left with no Splinter Cell. Will Ubisoft ever make a new Splinter Cell? Let us know in the comments below.
The risk at the time anything finally comes out with this IP, everyone's going to be done with it. Then we just moved on and we're like, great. It was a thing and it no longer is.
What do you think we get first? Beyond Good and Evil 2 or a new Splinter Cell game? One of them's been announced.
I mean, I feel like Splinter Cell still, just because I think Beyond Good and Evil is vaporware at this point.
100%. There's also talks of Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner, also Jean Grey. young Jean Grey from X-Men, in talks to play Lara Croft in Amazon's Tomb Raider series.
Don't like it.
Why? Because she's ginger and Lara Croft is a brunette.
No, you can dye her hair, just as she does in many of her roles. Sorry to all the ginger people out there listening.
Chris hates gingers.
No, you do by the sounds of it.
No, I don't.
No, I just don't think she's that great of an actress. I think she played the Stark character in Game of Thrones well, because it was a cold, doesn't really have much to do kind of stoic character.
But she also played Jean Grey in exactly the same way.
Exactly, and that's my worry, is that I'm yet to see her in a role where she brings any creative
bit more actiony,
expansion,
a bit more personality. I almost want it to be a bit quippy.
Yeah, and I'm yet to see that. But I actually tweeted about this a couple of weeks ago when it was first rumoured. It was like a few front runners, but it seems to be the honing in on Sophie Turner. I would quite happily have Florence Pugh, was my suggestion. She's young, she's British, she's a brilliant actress. She's had practice with pistols with her role in the Marvel MCU world as Yelena. And yeah, I think someone replied to me saying she's too short and stubby. And I was like, it's a fictional character. I'm looking for
Hugh Jackman
performance
played Wolverine.
That was what I responded. I responded with the gif of Wolverine and Deadpool. And Wolverine, the little short one, and said, "Oh well, if height with an actor is important for your fictional characters, then drop that gif on him as a reply."
I think there's a bit of sexism there. It's like the person's looking at Florence Pugh and goes, "Oh, she's too short and stubby to my taste, therefore she can't be Lara Croft." Hugh Jackman shouldn't be playing Wolverine by the same tone. So it's
exactly.
Like it's an actor playing a role.
I also think a lot of these people like looking for big pointy boobs. Like 5'11", slender, fit as a. Whereas realistically, it's like I'm just looking for a good actress who can carry a series.
Standard of female beauty, which arguably, to be honest, some of it is very fictional and doesn't look great anyway. Like sometimes it looks out of proportion, in my opinion. Yeah. I'd much rather a brilliant actress take the role who didn't quite look the part and nail the characterization, than an actress who looks exactly the part but can't act for shit.
Yeah, it's the same.
That's
with
not
people...
a comment on Sophie Turner.
No, not at all. But yeah, I agree. And if you look at it, like ideally, I'd probably say Hayley Atwell, but she's too old now. She's like pushing, like she might even be over 40 actually. And I'm expecting this story to focus on a young Lara, like the reboot games do. Realistically, you can't be scaling cliff faces and jumping into tombs if you're nearly 50. But in terms of that, we'll see who it will be. I don't know where Amazon are commitment-wise to this series anyway, but hopefully we'll always have the games, right? So, yes.
Indeed.
Let us know in the comments who you would cast as it. Is Florence Pugh a good shout? Is Sophie Turner a good shout? Should they bring Angelina Jolie back for one last hurrah?
Was she even good casting the first time round?
I mean, for the era of movies when they were being made, I think yes. I think her being front and centre was huge for the movie. I enjoyed both movies.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed them as well. But I think it's one of them, when you look back, it's like, I don't know, was she a good enough actress? I feel like there's a step above an Angelina Jolie.
Again, campy action movies back then. I remember, like, at the same era, you've got, like, James Bond, Well, There's Not Enough. That was arguably terribly campy and poorly acted as well. It's that era, isn't it? Like mid-2000s. Gerard Butler and Daniel Craig were in those movies. And Jorah Mormont was the villain in the first one, if you remember, when he had black hair and he wasn't old and grey.
Yeah. Talk about being old and grey. We like to end up this show with this week in video game history. Starting November the 15th, we've got some bangers, Chris.
Well, we mentioned it earlier on with the anniversary next year.
Of Warcraft, Orcs and Humans.
Yes, that's exactly what I was
talking about. The first Warcraft game, which we covered in this show.
Mm-hmm.
And also the Xbox.
The Xbox.
The Xbox.
The OG.
Yeah.
And Halo as well, launched with the Xbox. So yeah, what a time. 23 years ago. Damn. We've got some Harry Potter games as well. Chamber of Secrets dropping. That was one of the last big ones before we had to wait ages for Hogwarts Legacy to come around. Need for Speed Most Wanted, 19 years ago. I really enjoyed Need for Speed Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Revelations.
The PlayStation 4.
The PS4, yeah, 11 years ago today. I got home with
Shield,
it.
5 years ago, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's a good day for games.
It is a great day. Again, this time of the year is always great for Halo Infinite 3 years ago. Damn,
Yeah.
3 years already for Halo Infinite. Wow. Remember when that was delayed out of the console's launch and it was like, oh, you've missed a beat there, Microsoft.
I think they've probably look, on hindsight, because they didn't have the co-op and stuff ready, and the multiplayer was a bit more bare bones on launch. I think they've targeted the anniversary. They've prioritised the anniversary of Halo on the Xbox for the launch, because it would have been the 20th anniversary, rather than getting the game right.
Such a shame. But yeah, PS4, 11 years ago, yeah, I remember getting back home, picked it up, put it in the passenger seat, seatbelted it in like you do, got home, and I think I bought like 4 games with that at launch. That was a proper, like, living at my parents and had plenty of disposable income back then. Console, and I think I got like Marvel, Lego Avengers, Killzone Shadowfall, an Assassin's Creed game, maybe Unity, maybe. And then you just get home like, what do I play first? And yeah.
The 16th is a banger as well.
The 16th.
Half-Life 2. The world's still waiting for Half-Life 3.
Keep waiting.
Indeed. Left 4 Dead 2. The world's still waiting for Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah. And 6 years since the Pokemon Let's Go series launched. 2018. Wow. Doesn't time fly when you look back? It's mad.
I never liked the look of the Let's Go series, to me. I think they seemed unnecessarily dumbed down. But I think the world's ready for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Uncharted Drake's Fortune 17 years ago.
2 years after Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings.
Indeed. And I think
Go check it out.
I think we'll leave it there unless there's any more you want to shout out.
No, I think that's an adequate enough list. 2 consoles and a shit ton of amazing games.
Because that is all we have time for you this week. If you've liked the video, make sure you If you've liked the video, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring the bell so you kept in the loop of all our fantastic content here at GamerGuildTV. Follow us on social media at GamerGuildTV everywhere. All of our socials are in the description, as is the link to our Discord, where you should go if you're playing the Pokemon trading card game on your phone, and let people know you're playing so you can battle each other and eventually trade cards with each other. We've got a store where Black Friday there's going to be a sale where you'll get 30% off on November the 29th, so just keep that one in your diaries if you want an awesome hoodie, a dog bandana, a new mug, whatever it is that you fancy. And with that, my name's been Richie.
I've been Chris.
GG everyone, goodbye.
Bye.